citizens from Midwifery as one of the panel members who is front and center.
The interested parties meeting will actually be held in our Lake Tahoe room, which is going to be a more roundtable discussion, and it won't be podiums and two people in the front. So it should be more efficient for a discussion. Thank you.
Is there any other comment from the public on this agenda item? Ms. Hannah Davis.
Rosanna Davis, Cam. I just wanted to request that the interested parties meeting get recorded and publicized. The last one was apparently recorded, but it was never publicized.
Thank you. Anything else from the audience? Any other comments from the council on this agenda item? All right, seeing none, we're going to move forward. All right, Ms. Lowe is going to give us an update on the BREEZE program.
Thank you. So board staff have been very busy with preparing for these interested parties meetings and MAC meetings. So there's a few things that are still on our plate that we need to get done. Some of them would be that survey, which would be a follow-up survey that we did previously for the implementation of AB 1308 and how that was going. We didn't have a chance to get to that survey prior to today's meeting, but we are hopeful to get that done within the next week or two and get that out, and hopefully CAM can help assist get that to their members. So that is still on our plate to do. Also, we've been working on the language for our website for the transfer reporting form instructions and additional direction. Unfortunately, we have not had sufficient time to get that done either. So those are our top priorities for MAC at this point, along with the interested parties meeting, and I'm hopeful that you'll see some of these changes within the next couple weeks. Moving on to the actual BREEZE update, we really don't have any new information to report except BREEZE is working at the moment and we're utilizing it to review incoming applications. The online side for consumers is available. We have made some changes to the search options, which have made a much easier way to navigate to BREEZE. If you haven't verified a midwife license, you can go onto the board's website and click verify a license, select licensed midwife, and it takes you directly to the search in BREEZE. So it's cut down some of the clicks necessary. Board staff continue to review the system, notify the Department of Consumer Affairs of any issues that we're having, and work with them to update the system so that it is more efficient for everyone involved. We're still working on the online renewal application for licensed midwives. There's not an anticipated date for that. It's on a long list of items that the medical board is working on. So when we do get to that point, obviously I'll be providing you with more information. That's all I have for the BREEZE update.
And I think the last meeting I had asked if BREEZE might be able to be searched by county so that lists of all the midwives in any given county can come up. Do you know whether that has been requested, and if so, what's the status?
We have mentioned it at our licensing user group meetings that we meet every few weeks on, and it's kind of up in the air right now, but it is starting to be looked into.
Okay, so will you update us when you know more?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other comments on the BREEZE update? Okay.
Okay. For the licensing statistics on page 19 of your packets, we provided the chart, and very briefly, the numbers pretty much remain consistent, and the licenses that are being issued appear to be about the average of 5 per quarter. So some months are up, some are down. There's really nothing too outstanding to report on. Are there any questions on the licensing stats? Then I will move on to the enforcement statistics, which are on page 20 of your packet. Of note for this report, you will see that the hospital reporting form numbers have been added in. For the first quarter of the fiscal year, you're showing that 53 reports were received. We're not completely satisfied with reporting the forms in this format or in that section of the enforcement reports, and most likely that will be changing before the next meeting. and taking it out of complaints received, because it's not necessarily a complaint against the licensed midwife, it's simply that the reporting form is received. So I want to mention that, we put it in here so we can get the statistics to you this time for how many have been received, but you will most likely be seeing it in a better format. And that is all I have. Are there any questions on the enforcement statistics?
I'm not sure I understand completely. It says hospital reporting form 6. Does that mean only 6 hospital reporting forms have been received for the whole 13, 14? It says total.
Hospital reporting forms.
Oh,
They didn't give us anything for
53,
that.
sorry. So 53, what that means is 53 hospital reporting forms have been, and they covered what time frame?
It's for the first quarter of the fiscal year, so that would be,
Thanks.
okay,
Just in
July,
case it was,
October, right?
it's in the.
July to the end of September.
So will the board attempt to look at these and correlate them with the LMAR in terms of hospital transfers at some point to see whether we're getting all the hospital reporting forms that we ought to be getting for all the transfers that go in?
When we discuss the intention of this form, which has come up at interested parties meeting, one of the intents is that it does somehow validate the LMAR data. I foresee down the road, once we get this process in place and we get all parties involved aware of this, that we could then begin to analyze the data between the two, but
Okay,
we're not there.
that's what I was wondering down the road.
Okay. Kim just updated me that the online system for Breeze does now allow for the county to be searched by, so that has been updated.
Thank you. That is remarkable.
They may be watching the webcast and got that done for you.
Keep requesting, get 2 weeks of rest.
And that concludes my program.
Are there any other comments on agenda item 9, Ms. Lowe's update? All right, seeing none, we're going to move forward. Ms. Lowe is going to give us an update on the council membership.
Briefly, while staff was reviewing the term limits for the MAC, some things were brought to our attention, including the expiration of term limits for Ms. Yaroslavsky and Ms. Farallon. Also, while we were reviewing, of note is that Dr. Burns, Ms. Ehrlich, and Ms. Webster's terms will expire June 30th of 2015. So at this time, board staff will begin the process of notifying interested parties of the vacancies that will be coming up and the terms that will be expiring. We'll be sending out an interest form. We'll be posting it on our website and sending it out by subscribers list. And we'll be doing that within the next week or two, and are asking for applications and supporting documentation to be submitted to the board. We don't have a set date, but by the end of January. That way those applications can be reviewed and presented at the next MAC meeting in March. At that time, those positions that have expired or will be expiring, you can make a recommendation that we can then present to the full board at the May board meeting, so that those positions can be filled prior to the expiration of their actual term, and we can be on time and good to go now.
I have a real concern here,
Okay.
significant concern. I understand that the medical board lost track of this perhaps, that actually we have 2 members sitting here whom I love and am happy that they're here. I'm not trying to say I don't want them here, but they shouldn't be. Their terms already expired, and this whole process should have taken place 6 months ago and more. If we indeed move ahead with replacing those 2 members, and the 3 of us whose terms expire in June, we're going to have 5 brand new people on this council, and that is why we had staggered terms instated when we first seated the Midwifery Advisory Council, was so that we would have longevity here as well as new, fresh people as we went along. I think this is a real problem. And I want to see if we are indeed going to replace 2 people in March immediately. And then I think what we need to do is extend the terms of the others of us who are supposed to expire in June, so that we can continue with these staggered terms in the way that it was originally intended to be done. I think this is a real problem.
Ms. Kirkman?
The way these were put together in the terms in and of themselves were actually something that I believe this committee agreed to when it first started, the council first started, as to the time frame of them.
That is not true.
No, the
That is
board.
not true.
the
Dr.
board said it.
Fantosi and the board.
So the board put them together, so it would take us to go back to the board at the January meeting and ask them to change the term limits for
Fine,
those
I think we
positions.
should do that.
So,
Because I think it will be, if we should end up with all 5 of these positions getting completely filled with new people, we have no longevity, we have no institutional memory. I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's harmful to the process.
So I think
that
what
we're
we also
trying
have to realize is that we've had changes in administration and the medical board, and I think we have to be, in all due fairness, we can express our concerns and everything to
Yes.
staff, but staff needs to figure out what's going on. This is not for us to, the input is fine, and,
I appreciate that the medical board is stressed. Believe me.
So, I'm just suggesting that the demands are not, it's just, staff has to hear what's going on, and it should be deferred.
So, my institutional memory is this. When the council was originally set up in 2007, every term was a bit staggered. So the 3 midwives had a 1-year, a 2-year, and a 3-year term.
That's
And
correct.
my term initially was 1 year, Karen's was 2, and Faith's was 3.
That's correct.
I think what hasn't happened and why we have a bunch of people expiring at the same time is Ruth Haskins retired in the middle of a term, and Dr. Burns took over the rest of that term, and so he shouldn't really have gotten 3 years initially. He should have gotten whatever Dr. Haskins' term was left, and then reapplied. And I believe
Faith resigned as well, I believe.
and Faith, but I think she
She
resigned.
resigned toward almost at the very end of her term.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is not
So-
part of this.
yeah. I think we can figure it out.
Can I suggest that
Yeah.
staff meet
Yeah,
with
and-
the chair and you
Yes.
guys work this out?
Absolutely. And we had talked about talking to Ms. Sparebaum anyway, because we want to go over this process anyway, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds like a deal. All right. Is there any other input for this agenda item? No, seeing none. Anything from the audience? No. All right. Okay. Future Midwifery Advisory Council dates. So tab 11 has possibilities.
I have a comment here, and it isn't about the specific dates, it's about the calendar. When I first saw pages 24 and 25 in the packet, I was thrilled that the medical board had taken all of these different holidays and put them out there to try to make sure we didn't step on any culture or religion's toes. And then I began to realize that your Jewish holidays are all wrong. All wrong. They are all wrong. Please understand that Jewish holidays change every year. They are never on the same date this year as they were last year, as they will be next year. And all of the dates that you have for Jewish holidays here are for 2014. They are not for 2015. I did look up the major ones that we need to not interfere with for meetings of the Midwifery Advisory Council are Passover, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur. And they do not conflict, even in 2015. So it is not significant for this particular set of dates that you have here, but please, in the future, consult a Jewish calendar. Or talk to one of us, who knows. Google it, that's right. And each year it is different. So I
Kind of like Easter. huh?
understand what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like Easter.
Yeah, we got it.
No, it's not like
It's like
Christmas.
Easter. Easter is a different day every year.
Yeah.
Okay, we got it. Sorry about that. So,
Can I make a comment? I just wanted to say thank you. I had no idea when National Tartan Day was, and next year I will be really happy to find International Talk Like a Pirate Day observed in my household. So without those little Inclusions, I would have had no idea, so thanks for making my day.
I love you, Chelsea. All right, so do council members have druthers about the March dates? Any preferences there, the 19th or the 26th?
I prefer the 26th.
I think I do too. Anybody else for the 26th? Guess Dr. Byrne doesn't get to say because he's not here.
I prefer the 26th as well,
All right, so.
How do you know what you prefer already?
because there are there's other stuff.
All right, does that work for you, Barbara? Okay, so March 26th. How about August? Anybody got their vacation plans set yet? August 6th or 13th?
I have no preference.
How about the 13th?
All right. Anybody have a problem with the 13th? We're hoping it works for you. Everybody okay with the 13th on the council? Okay. And December next year, I actually prefer earlier in December rather than later, so I prefer the 3rd.
The major issue with, there's the Association of Perinatal Psychology and Health is having its conference beginning on the 3rd, but
Okay.
it does extend for 4 days, so I'm not sure that it's a big issue.
This isn't an issue for me. Anybody else on the council have a problem with it?
I would suggest that we move on these dates, and that if there is a problem, that
We can change them. in
we
the
should
future.
let the staff know.
So,
I move to accept March 26th, August 13th, and December 3rd.
Second. All right. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Great. All right, now we need agenda items for the next Midwifery Advisory Council meeting. So we need to put the LMAR on there, updates to that. Continuing updates on AB 1308 and that process. Midwifery assistance. And there's a process for transfer from home to hospital that has been developed in this country, and I would really like to invite Diane Holzer to the March meeting to give us a short PowerPoint presentation on that, if nobody has any objections to that. She's a part of the committee that helped design it. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Anybody else? Staff, know anything I'm forgetting here? Constance?
Constance Rock, California Association of Midwives. I'd like to add a report from CAM on our meetings with Department of Healthcare Services about Medi-Cal applications, and a report about our meetings with Department of Public Health about comprehensive perinatal services, and also a legislative update on an author for a bill about comprehensive perinatal services.
It's basically a Medi-Cal update, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and where midwives are with getting things like that changed. We have in the past discussed this on the MAC in terms of just, historically, staff several years ago prepared a report for us as to what it would take to get licensed midwives added to the list of providers for CPSP services, and I, for one, would really like to have the update if nobody has objections to that. Okay.
Since it can't update more?
Yeah, it's on moving forward. Yeah, right. All right, so legal says we can do that as provided as information only. It's not going to be something that the MAP can actually take action on, but it's kind of like the report from Diane Holzer on the hospital transfer.
Yeah, thanks.
Great. All right. Anybody else? All right. Do I need a motion to put these on the agenda?
So move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. So, and of course, all the other normal updates that go there will also be on the agenda. All right. Any further public comments? Council comments? All right, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you all very much. If Natalie?